Welcome to Small Business Saturday.
Welcome to Small Business Saturday's video series with your host and my husband.
And my dad, Aaron Montgomery.
Join the conversation.
Let's talk some business.
All right. Good morning, everybody. How are we all doing here today? Coming to you from Lake St. Louis, actually, today. I'm with my friend Mike Wilkerson here, and I'm using an awesome studio that he's got set up here, Two Guys Talking Studio. So I think that's correct, Mike. If all right, good. So really excited to be coming to you here today. So as I've mentioned across Facebook and whatnot, today we're going to be talking about the customer experience and what that means, why it's important, how we define it clearly, and what we can do to improve that. So I'm really excited about this. This is a very passionate area of mine, so I am looking forward to having this interaction with you guys today. I've got a few people already checking in, so appreciate that. I've got Ron here this morning. Ron, good to see you. How's everything going? I'm hoping to get out to ISS Atlantic City this year, and I think that's where we met the first time, Ron, so I'm not sure if you're going to be out there, but looking forward to seeing you, doing some good stuff. All right, so before we get into this customer experience thing, I want to talk to you guys a little bit about what I recently finished up, a developing a business plan series that we did here on Small Business Saturdays. And if you want to go check that out, I'm going to pop up a link here, and I got to get there we go. We've got so if you go to that link right there, it's a 5-week video series that I did here through Small Business Saturdays. And we talked about all the different sections of developing your business plan, from finding your why to the marketing plan to the budgeting, all the key pieces. And that's in that series if you go to that link right there. And the great part about it, the most fun part that I had with the whole thing, was that we had tons of great interactions between each week. And those interactions were, kind of a homework assignment. And so we all did it together. So people would send emails to me with the information, and then I would leave and come back to them, and we just share information. So we're trying to build a community around small businesses that are doing the business planning. And even if you have a business plan, it's really important to go through this process often. And with interacting with us through those videos, you get a chance to get some free consulting, basically. So it's a lot of fun. Like I said, we're building a closed community as well around this. And so I really encourage you to go check this out. Jan, good morning. Get everybody in here and checking us out. So thanks everybody for tuning in. And I am really excited about this here today. So again, go back to this link, bit.ly.sbs planning, and you can check out those videos and be a part of that. So that's going to stay open, even though you didn't check out the live version. Still all there for you. I'm looking forward to having that engagement. So, all right, guys, are we ready? Are we ready to dive into what we came here to talk about today, the customer experience? Yes. All right, good. All right, everybody. So let's start off with why the customer experience is so important to understand. So think about this. Think about ways that you are spending your money. Let's think about businesses that you go to on a regular basis. Maybe it's a business that you go to that's a little bit out of your way. Maybe it's a business that you go to because it makes you feel good or important. Maybe you go to this business and spend money there because even though you can spend less money at a different business. So think about those businesses in your life. Maybe it's a grocery store that you could sleepwalk through and still get everything that you need. All of that speaks to that customer experience for that company. And the key is that they keep you coming back. So that's what we want to talk about today. How can you make your business into a business that people want to keep coming back to over and over again? So depending on the study that you want to believe, the current finding new customers versus getting more sales out of your current customers, your cost is about 25% less to deal with your current customers, to get more business from your current customers. Plus, those happy customers tend to spend more money and go out of their way to find ways to do more business with you. All right, Greg, good morning. Sorry, I'm bouncing around here, but people are jumping in. So like I said, I do want to make this an interactive opportunity here to talk with everybody. So Greg, good morning. Good to see you. All right. So we've kind of understand a little bit of the why. We want people to be coming back, but a blog post that I read back in 2014 that has stuck with me and has been something that I go back to all the time is a blog by the gentleman named Seth Godin. And this was a 2014 blog post, and it was Thinking Lifetime, Don't Break the Chain. And in this blog post, he makes the statement, every customer is also a media outlet and a publisher if she chooses to be. That means that unhappy news spreads far and fast, and that remarkable products and services need lower ad budgets because you have your customers as a salespeople. So by mastering that customer experience, you're going to be holding on to more customers that you want, and we're going to talk about that in a second, and you're going to be reducing the costs to get new ones by having a customer experience that your customers can talk about, can produce, can post on social media, etc. So, all right, great. So you guys, that's our why. That's where we want to start. Talk to me about what you guys think is the why for the customer experience, and we'll get to that interaction. So great to have everybody checking in this morning. All right, so clicking through a few things here. All right, let's talk about what the customer experience is. So customer experience is one of those things that a lot of times gets misinterpreted. A lot of people think customer experience is the customer service. You know, what happens when they're placing the order, what happens after they've gotten the order, if they've had a problem, you know, that kind of thing, the customer service side of it. And yes, that is a big part of it. But really the customer experience is the entire time that the customer is in contact with you, not just from the time that they make that purchase into the delivery, but it's also the time that you're acquiring the customer. It's also the time after they've received the product and that they're using the product. So it goes much further back to the very first time they see you on social media, the very first time they see you at a trade show or whatever the case may be. And it goes all the way up to the time where they've taken your product or service and they're actually using it. So let's think about the front end of this thing first. When we're acquiring the customers, what is that experience like? So if you're a luxury or a premium brand and you're acquiring customers, you don't want that interaction to feel cheap. You don't want that interaction to feel like it's automated, like it's fast, like there's not a lot of thought being put into it. You want that to feel luxurious. You want that to feel, you know, so you're going to go the extra mile. You're going to spend the extra money in your marketing to put that luxury feel out there. So think about those kinds of things. We're talking about quality over quantity when we're acquiring these customers. And that's really important for us because then you're going to have the right customers. And when you're hanging on to the right customers, that makes your business easier, more profitable, less headaches, all of those positive things that we're looking for in our businesses each day. Checking in for comments. So keep them coming, guys. We'll see what's going on here. All right, so we talked about the front end of it a little bit, but let's talk about the back end of it too. That experience after that they've received your product or service. You know, so in the garment world that we're in here, what happens once they take that box of shirts from you? Is it easy for them to get in? Is there some order to it? Is it clean? So let's say you've done shirts for a 5K and those volunteers have to try to pull out shirts out of a printer's fold, which is just a bunch of shirts stacked together and shoved into an old Gildan box. Is that the experience that you want your customers to have? Or do you want those customers to have a great experience of the shirts being all organized, cataloged? We've talked many times on the podcast, even on this show that I do on Saturday mornings, about maybe in a situation like that, taking it one step further and polybagging each one, or helping them put the shirts in the goodie bags that are going to be given out. You know, just making that experience all the way to the end something that's very positive for these folks, that is a value-added service that allows you to charge more money. But at the same time, there's not a whole lot of extra cost for you. You just got to care a little bit more, you know, so pretty easy stuff there for sure. So those are the two things with what we want to be taking a look at. If you're able to do those things, and then if you're able to deal with the things that don't always go right. There's going to be times when things don't go right. Let's say your customer bought 72 shirts from you and they misspelled a word on it. How are you going to handle that? What is the experience that you're going to give them? They already feel awful about misspelling the word. So are you going to shove the signed proof in their face and tell them, sorry, you got to buy 72 more shirts at full value, and you also have to wait the requisite amount of time to get those? Or are you going to have some empathy for them? Are you going to say, hey, we try to do the proof so we have a chance to check these things out, but we understand that things do happen. Let's work together on this. How can we help you? Maybe we'll be able to split the cost. Maybe we can get this right away because we know you need these for an event this weekend. Just understanding what it is that the full customer experience is all about, because you may lose money on that job right there, but at the same time, you're also going to be able to get a customer for life. And that customer is going to shout from the rooftops how you save them from their spelling mistake, those kinds of things. So think about the whole experience differently than you would. You don't get so close, don't get so ego driven into this, and understand that sometimes you win some, you lose some, but a lot of times those lost orders are ones that can actually turn around and really grow your business, because you get somebody on your side that might be able to influence other customers your way. There we go. So Greg's got a couple of great comments that I think come right along with what I'm talking about here. The Christmas morning experience, that's totally it. Greg tells it perfectly. When that customer opens the box, doesn't matter if it's Christmas morning or not, it feels like Christmas because they're getting something cool that they want, that they've been part of your process. So that's a good thing. Greg says the ribbon matters. Yeah, when you get that ornament and it doesn't have a ribbon on it and you've got to go find one, it just takes away from the experience. So there we go. Greg, you should be over here on this side of it. I love it. No fault policy, fix it, make a lifetime customer. I probably stole a lot of this stuff from you anyhow, Greg. So anyhow, I'm just kidding. All right. Well, let's keep rolling here, because I want to kind of get through this stuff. And again, if you guys have questions or comments, feel free to jump into those things. Let's talk about how do you improve the customer experience? Okay, so I think we've kind of gotten to a point and trying to pack all this into a short segment here. So just keep working with me. Like I said, we want to interact afterwards. You guys know how to find me. Find me on Facebook. Find me through here. Let's comment. Let's keep this going. But let's talk about how we fix that. We've understood that it is very important for our business. We understand what it is, that it's a much bigger thing than we think, just customer service. But let's talk about how we fix it, what things we need to do to improve our customer experience. I want to go back to the blog post that I mentioned earlier, Mr. Godin's blog post. He talks about breaking the chain. Breaking the chain, it would be, what are the pain points for the customers along the way? Maybe they loved everything about your company. They got a quote from you, and then the artwork process was just extremely difficult. They were frustrated. They weren't getting a lot of help. Whatever the case may be, there was a break in that chain. Or maybe it's just, getting items out of the box. We talked about with the 5K thing. If they're all just shoved in there and they got to pull all these things out and sort them out, that's an opportunity to break that chain, because now they're going to go, maybe I need to look for a different t-shirt printer next time. Or maybe I need to, go somewhere where it's a little easier for me to get from point A to point B. So that's breaking the chain. And, another way that you're breaking the chain, maybe everything went great and it just, something washes out. Maybe you're putting vinyl on a shirt and the corners start to peel up after just a couple of washes. Maybe you had a mistake in your business. Again, how you deal with that, how you handle those situations is huge to a success these days. We're in a very connected society today. As Mr. Godin said, the ability for people to shout from the rooftops is easier than ever now with social media and everything else. And, just a personal story, I had I'm looking to put some sprinklers in my lawn. And I was talking to a neighbor, and he had a bad experience with one of the companies that's been trying to get my business. And just from that experience alone, because he had such a bad experience, I trust him. I'm like, I don't want to have that same bad experience. So I've crossed them off my list. So how do you solve the problems? I know it can be difficult. I know sometimes people can be a little bit unreasonable. I know that these things happen. And I know as small business owners, we get very close to that. And we're like, we need to stand up for ourselves and do all those things. And yes, it's okay to fire a customer, but first do the right thing, do what they want, and then you can stop accepting business from them. So think about that whole customer experience. Think about breaking the chain. So here's my technique for going and looking at the customer experience as a whole. First off, I would say you start with you. Try to take yourself out of it. Try to go to the 30,000 foot view. Try to take your ego out of it. Try to take your, the fact that I need to make $5 extra on this job kind of mentality out of it, and go through the process from start to finish yourself as if you were a customer. And then just try to carefully document all along the way some areas that you feel might be pain points for your customers. What's difficult? What's challenging along the way for you to do as the owner of the company? If they're challenging things for you to do along the way as the owner, then imagine what your poor customers are going through. So that's step one. The second step is, sorry, I get taken because there's some great comments here that I just missed, but we'll come back to those in just a second. So step two is to find a friend or family member that you can trust to tell you an honest opinion. Somebody that will come back to you with quality feedback and not be worried about how bad things are at Thanksgiving because they told you bad news about your company. So you want to find a friend or family member that you can trust and have them do the same thing that you just did as the owner. Go through the entire process from beginning to end and have them document all the same things. What was challenging for them? What didn't they understand from the outside looking in? Maybe in exchange for doing this for you, they're going to get some free shirts out of it anyway. So have them go through that process again, from start to finish, document the entire thing, and bring all that together with the documentation that you have of all of your pain points that you discovered yourself. And then the third and final thing to do, and this is going to be the most challenging and definitely the part where you really have to swallow the ego, is go out there and talk to your customers. You've got to ask them about their process along the way. What things did they feel like were a little bit challenging for them? What did they have problems doing throughout the process of working with you? Better yet, if you can find them and if you can talk them into talking to you, find customers that have left you for whatever reason. Maybe you're not going to win them back, but the information that you can get out of them is well worth, maybe it's having them fill out a survey and you're going to give 5 random winners $100 gift card or something like that. It doesn't have to be $100, maybe it's $25, but that money that you spend to get that feedback from your actual customers, from people that you actually want to be doing business with, is going to be invaluable. So once we've done those 3 things, what I want you to do is take all of those things, bring them together, make a list of what you feel are the most important things to tackle all the way down, and then just start going and fixing those things. This is not about trying to point blame at somebody. This is not about telling your employees they're not doing a good job. This is about fixing your process so that the customer experience is good from point A to point B. If they're having problems with your customer service team, it's probably not that you have a bad customer service team because you hired them and they're people that you work with. It's probably they don't have the right training. They don't have the right ability to make the right decisions. So think about all those things. The time, energy, and money that you spend on this process is going to be huge for you. And it's going to take you to a different level with your customer experience, which is then going to take you to a different level in your success. All right. So I'm going to go back, find a couple comments here that I think are worth. Here we go. Jan says, completely agree. I'm a no-fault shop. I never have, it never has served me to play the blame game. Absolutely, Jan. That's a huge point. Again, the blame thing, across the board, blaming your employees, blaming your customers, blame in general. And this is something that I work on every day myself. Blaming in general just gets nobody anywhere. So let's work on just solving the problem. Again, there are going to be times you have to be okay with every once in a while losing money on a job. That is not the end of the world, and it's not the end of your business. And that could be the best decision that you ever made, was to lose, because you never know. Maybe that person was buying something for themselves, but maybe they also work for Adidas and they're looking for somebody to do some printing, or whatever the case may be. Maybe they're connected to somebody else that could bring a ton of business your way. You never know that. So don't blame them. Work with them. Have empathy. All right. And then Greg says, I only steal the best, so do you. So there we go. Agreed, Greg. That's our friend Jay Bassell always says that R&D actually means repeat and duplicate instead of research and development. So good stuff. Ron, I totally 100% agree with this comment here. Give customer service reps power to break the rules and please the customers. Absolutely. Every time I've been involved in a business and it was my responsibility to work with the customer service team, that is the most important thing, is that they need to understand what their role is. Their role is as an advocate for your customers. It's customer service. It's not your company service. They're a customer service advocate, and they need to be the heroes, not the villains. They're not the person telling them no. They need to be able to be empowered to be the heroes and make decisions on finding solutions together. So good stuff there. Yeah, there we go, Jan. Rip off and duplicate. That's right. I misquoted Jay. Don't tell him, okay? Cheryl, good morning. We're just wrapping up here. So I think we've covered a pretty good amount of stuff here. And we're going to get on out the door and head off for the day. But I wanted to just close out with a couple of quick things. This is kind of fun. This is over at the Two Regular Guys podcast, but I'm checking out Amazon merch. And so I've put some things up there as merch. If you want to go buy, I'm wearing one of the shirts right now. I think it can do two things for you printers out there. A, love for you to support the podcast that we do on Fridays, but B, you can see what's coming out of Amazon merch. Everybody seems to be talking about how scared they are of this. Based on what I got, it's not a bad shirt. It's a decent shirt. I've seen better prints though. So, I'm kind of talking bad about a product I'm asking you to buy, but buy that product and you can see how Amazon merch works from the customer experience. And as far as the user experience, putting stuff up there on my side for you guys out there that are worried about them, it has been an atrociously difficult experience. Just to get those three things up has been hugely difficult. It's all algorithm based. You can't get to any customer service. For Amazon being the customer service giants that they are, the Amazon merch program has got a long ways to go. So I would not worry too much about that. But you can check that out right there. Finally, the last thing that I want you guys to do, if you don't mind, if you haven't already signed up, sign up for my newsletter. It's aaronmontgomery.info/getconnected. And love working on that right now. Hopefully by next weekend, I'll have my monthly newsletter out the door for October. And yep, Jan said, wow, yeah, she's heard that Amazon merch has been difficult. Yeah, I agree. I'm not sure what they're going to do to improve it, but hopefully not a whole lot, and that doesn't affect us as printers. So anything else before we're out of here, guys? I've had a fun time. Thanks so much to Mike for letting me come into his awesome studio here. I'm amazed with everything that's set up. So if you ever need any help with any podcasts, it's Two Guys Talking, and I'll put a link in my Facebook page to his stuff over there too. All right, guys, have a great rest of your Saturday. I am checking out.